How's it going, guys? Drew Peacock here, back with another video. Let me show you guys what we're going to be doing today to the Mustang. So it is windy as balls outside, so we are actually in my garage. But for those of you that don't know, I have an aftermarket hood. As you can tell, it obviously is not stock. But when you buy an aftermarket hood, especially a fiberglass one or a carbon fiber one, your hood is lighter and it tends to flex a little bit, so you get something called hood flutter, or at least that's what I'm going to call it. And it's pretty much when your corners are lifting up on highway speeds and it's like fluttering. So what I'm gonna do, which I didn't want to have to do, I looked for any other excuse not to, but we got hood clips. We are going to be mounting hood clips, maybe say right there or so. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to find out underneath where we can mount them, but we're gonna be mounting some hood clips. I went with hood clips rather than hood pins because I figure these are sleeker and they're a little bit more modern looking. The old school hood pins, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit overdone and I see it way too often on cars that don't need it. So we're gonna be doing some hood clips and hopefully it is super simple. My only worry is, since I do have a dip, I'm worried about when I'm cutting through that with a Dremel. I'm wondering if that's gonna fuck up my dip really bad. Kind of have some precautions to take, so let's just dive right in. Should we get a quick little cold start really quick? Let's see. Alright, so we're not moving right here, but pretty much what would happen is right down there, that shit would start fluttering and you'd see it even up here a little bit. It's a sketchy situation. We're not moving, so I decided to get this little recording, but let me keep driving. It is windy as fuck out. I do not have the stabilizer, but we got the Dremel. We got my sexy ass car right here. Let's go and hop on in, and we'll head home right now. So what I've done here is put blue tape in the area where I'm going to be working to obviously avoid scratching, and because when I start cutting through it, I don't want it to start ripping up the rest of the dip. Same thing I would recommend if you have paint. You don't want it to start flaking up, so put blue tape over the area where you're going to be working, just to be careful. So I was looking for an area where to mount, and I took out the little hood stopper. I feel like this might be my best position because A, there's already a hole there. B, it already tells me where to line up for the most part. And C, I think it's far enough away from the panel to actually look pretty decent. So it'll be symmetrical on both sides. I don't got to worry about measuring, so I just got to take out that one as well. And I think we'll be good. So what I did for the other one was I got some needle nose and I got the washer and I slid it in a weird angle to get it to fit. And then I placed it as close to the hole as possible. And then I did the same with the washer that needs to be in front of it. Got it placed damn near perfect. And then what you got to do is have the other nut already ready and the washer. Stick it into the hole. Make sure the hole is nice and lubricated. And slowly try to grab onto those threads. And I think I did already. Yep. So then what I did was I pull it up and I hold the nut with just the teeth up against the wall. And then I just screw it in a little bit more, so that way we're for sure good. So now it's for sure on there. I'm going to put this nut down just so we can see how it is. And what I'm doing is also pulling it as far towards the front of the vehicle as possible. So again, they are both as symmetrical as possible. Got that nice and snug. Don't want to over tighten it because we are going to be redoing it. But now what I'm going to do is dab some stuff on here, maybe some grease, and then mark it on the hood where I need to drill. So you'll see that right now. What I'm going to be doing is putting some anti-seize on top of it really quick, like I said, just so we can get a little marker. So just get a decent amount. Again, we're going to be washing this off. Mark that one and do the same for the other side. Again, this is just going to be a little indicator, so when we place the hood down, we can see exactly where we need to drill. Well, won't you look at that? We got some anti-seize right where we want to cut right there, and a nice little glop on this side, so we can go ahead and wipe away the pins. Sorry, this thing fucking moves really slow, but we can go ahead and wipe off the anti-seize on the pins and start drilling some pilot holes. So recommend you cover up your workspace with either a trash bag or some sort of cloth, because you are going to be drilling and you don't want particles to fall in certain areas on your air filter, which is directly under there. So I recommend covering up your work area, making it look a little bit nicer. It makes cleanup a lot easier too. All right, so I'm going to be starting pretty small just to get a good pilot hole going, and then I'm going to be moving it up, and then eventually I'm going to pull out the Dremel and start cutting away with that. Now the scary part is that we have to drill directly straight up, so this is kind of confusing. I got to figure out which way is straight up, and then we'll go from there. So what I did here was I cut a big enough hole for, I believe, the pin to fit into, so I'm going to put more marking on the pin and stick it all the way through and then continue drilling through. That way we know for sure that we're going on a straight line. Guys, we got through the hood. It is very, very scary drilling a hole in your hood. I have a hole there, and I now have a hole here. So we got 2 holes in the hood. Those should be where those should be where the pins are lining up exactly, so that we have our little layout. Now what I'm going to do is place this over it, angle it how I want, and then cut around this, and we should be good to go. Hopefully everything lines up nice and good. You know, I've never done this before. I've seen a couple videos, but hopefully this works good and hopefully the dip survives. I'm gonna go let my phone charge though, and I'm gonna try to get one done, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. All right, guys, after a few hours of tinkering with this thing, trying to get it aligned perfectly, it is now pretty much almost dark out. I finally got it. I did have to cut a slightly bigger hole right here so I could slide in the backing plate. Lining these things up is a fucking pain in the ass. I actually removed my actual factory latch right here just because I had to keep opening and closing it, so I'd recommend doing that. But if you look when we drop the hood down, slides perfectly in. So we got one done. I know this is a pain in the ass, but we got one done finally. It looks great. It looks pretty much how I want it. I mean, honestly, I think that's perfect. But now we got to cut that one. I'm actually curious how easily the dip would peel off of something like this. So we're going to peel this up. As you can see, the dip is still intact, which is kind of amazing. I mean, honestly, I didn't think it would last this long, but I'm going to try to peel the corner. Curious how it's going to peel off. Wow, that is on there. Look at that. Fucking hell, I was pulling pretty hard right there. Damn. Yeah, I mean, it's got some thickness to it. It's not super crazy thick, but I mean, you could tell. I mean, yeah, wow, that's pretty impressive. Now, I'm not wearing a mask, but I highly recommend you do because this shit's kicking up a lot of fiberglass. I've worked with fiberglass before. That's still no excuse, but I couldn't find a mask, and I really wanted to get it done right now. So I'm holding my breath for as long as I can, but I am taking an occasional whiff of it. So like I said, I recommend wearing a mask. I pretty much got most of it cut out with the cutting wheel. Now I'm going to take a sander and just sand the rest of it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I got a drill bit here that fits really snugly inside these holes. I'm going to place it inside the spot just like that and then just drill out those holes really quick. So what I did was I got 2 of those screws started in. Now I'm going to drill the rest. That way it just stays in place with those other screw holes. Alright, so we got the whole of it cut out pretty nice. I'm going to test fit it right now just to see how it looks. As you can see, it slides right in. There's not that much play around it. There is a little bit, so we might have done a little bit too much, but honestly, there's not that much play. It's pretty good. Alright, so now that I've got it all cleaned up, we can lift up the hood and start cutting out the underneath part. Alright, so the scary part about under the hood where we have to cut right now is we have our hood prop right here. So I can either just say fuck it and cut it all out and then just not use the hood prop anymore, or I have to be very careful and just try to avoid this area. I think I'm gonna just try to avoid the area, honestly, because I still use the hood prop. Alright, I got it cut out, and it's a little bit bigger than I wanted it, but it's okay, you know, weight reduction, all that shit. The hood prop still works, so that's good. I don't know how long I'm going to be using it for because it does kind of bounce on it, but it will work, you know, just for emergency situations or if I'm at a car meet or something. This is how it'll look when it's done. I still need to sand it a little bit, get it a little bit more cleaned up, and then we should be good to go. Alright, it's pretty much cleaned up. It's soft to the touch. I'm just going to leave it like that. No one's going to see it anyway, so you don't really got to worry about that. I held my breath for about 90% of that, and that shit sucked really bad because there was powder kicking up everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and get the actual housing mounted. Hopefully it fits. Hopefully I don't need to chop away any more of this. Right now, though, is when you want to peel off the top layer. This is kind of satisfying. If everything came out good, it will feel really nice. Just go ahead and get a corner. If you do have a dip, do it really slow. Even if you have a paint, you don't want to be flaking up all of the paint, so do it slow. Since I have a dip, I'm going to be doing it very gently. I usually do the top layer, and I check the tape underneath, and it looks solid, so I don't really got to worry too much. But now we will be getting this layer slowly. Okay, we fucking got the wrong piece. Might as well get this out of there. Don't be tugging on it too much, and don't do it too quick on edges where you think it might peel up. I don't really think it's going to peel up because I already did the other side, so I still am being careful though. As you can see, nice and satisfying, clean cuts for the most part. But no dip is peeling up, thank God. You can do it. If your car is dipped properly, you can do it. Now what we're doing is putting in the Allen bolts. What I did is I have one started right in this hole, so I'm going to put this nut in really quick. Gotta lubricate the nut. I think how I did it on the other side was a bit easier. What I did was I had them taped into the actual housing where the nuts sit. That way the nuts aren't bouncing around everywhere. You don't lose your nut. All right, don't tighten the first one all the way because it is going to bend and contour a little bit to your hood. So tighten it, get it snug, but don't tighten it all the way. Now, what I did was cross tighten. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cross tighten these. All right, so we got the housing in there. It's hard to see. Like I said, now it is pitch black outside. It took me some time to get that one in there. I actually lost one of the nuts. It fell into my engine bay somewhere. And I'm hoping when I move my car, I'll be able to see it. I don't think I will though, because I don't know where the fuck it's at. Luckily, I drilled the holes a size to where the screws are actually tightening into the hood itself. So that screw will be fine for now. Hopefully I can get a replacement screw for that one. But now is the fun part. We get to align that. Honestly, I'm probably going to do this off camera because for everyone's car, it's going to be different. This isn't anything special that you need to see. You might need to trim yours. I needed to trim about 2.5 inches off of mine. So, you know, each car might be different, but pretty much we're going to be lining up into that hole right there. I had to drill the other side a bit bigger. So I'm going to do this off camera and I'll show you guys the finished result in the morning. I'm going to show you guys the finished result. It was raining earlier, so I had to wait to come outside, but it finally stopped and it's weirdly sunny outside. It's kind of trippy because everything else is wet. But the finished result just looks absolutely amazing. It was a pain in the ass to get them aligned properly. I will tell you that. They're still not perfectly aligned, as in I kind of have to jiggle them to get them unlatched. That one actually came out really easily. And then this one, yeah, see this one I gotta actually kind of lift up and do it, and then it'll come unlatched. So they're not perfect. I can always go under there and tinker with them, but it was getting late last night, and so I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. They are functional, which is what I want. And they are going to hold my hood closed while I'm going on high speeds on the freeway. It's just nice having that peace of mind. When I used to drive, I used to see the flutter and it was really, really sketchy. I'd go out on race nights and kind of just have to pray that my shit doesn't break off that night. So with the new latches, it is solid. I also still do have the factory latch, so that is nice. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's doable. I think if I would have measured out a little bit better, these would have been a little bit easier to put in. And then to close them, you just press them in. Just like that. Around them looks flawless. The dip didn't get messed up at all around them. It looks perfect. Same with it on this side. So if you do have a dipped or a wrapped car, I'm sure it's possible. But I just think it brings a whole nother layer of aggression to the front end. It is wet out right now, so I'm not going to go drive fast, especially that. So I'm not going to drive the car right now. But let me know what you guys think about them. I think they look pretty dope, and I think, you know, being that they're functional and everything, they're pretty legit. If you enjoyed this video or this video helped you, please leave a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about them. Until next video, peace.